television at matinee rates. I know a B-budget beauty with impeccable taste should get you what you need to put a smile on your face with just the right blend of leather and lace. Madam Grindhouse is gonna be your guide to a weird, wild, wonderful world we're taking inside. Step right up, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. She's here to provide Madam Grindhouse.
Hello, my little sprocket friends and cinematic masochists. It's me, Madam Grindhouse, your cinematrix of the silver screen. And it's time for another foray into Grindhouse media that isn't a movie. As we mentioned before, the release of Grindhouse in 2007 sparked a resurgence in interest in Grindhouse media. And one of those mediums was comics. In 2013, Dark Horse Comics published the first of two miniseries written by filmmaker and comics writer Alex DeCampi, whose other works includes the Eisner Award-winning Smoke and the notorious Archie vs. Predator crossover and its sequel. Yes, we'll definitely be covering Archie vs. Predator at some point. The first miniseries was Grindhouse, Doors Open at Midnight, which ran for 8 issues. But the format of the series consisted of 4 two-issue stories, homaging and remixing the tropes of Grindhouse cinema for a comic format. The series was so successful that, like any successful Grindhouse hit, a sequel series came along a year later, Grindhouse Drive-In, Bleed Out, which followed the format and brought 4 more two-issue stories for a total of 8. And each of these stories not only provide all the gore, sex, violence, and sleaze that a good Grindhouse experience requires, DeCampi and her various artist collaborators also managed to sneak a message or two underneath it all, if you're paying attention. We're going to cover all of these stories eventually, but for now we look at the story that kicked everything off. A tale of a small-town Texas life, aliens, insects, and a hell of a lot of honey. Tonight's feature, Bee Vixens From Mars. We open, as Jim Steinman himself repeatedly put it, on a hot summer night with Mars visible in the sky. One of those nights where the air is thick with heat and something else.
Everything is bursting. Everything is whispering. Now. Now. Now.
Now, 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 now.
Our focus is drawn to a large beehive hanging from the limb of an apple tree, which apparently is so overpopulated it drips honey onto the flowers below it. And that's not the only place it is, as we go to the home of Jimmy, the local sheriff, who seems completely oblivious to the fact that his wife Betty and her friend Arlene are going to town on a jar of said honey.
It's so good, Arlene. Where'd you get it?
That old apple tree up on Cemetery Hill. So much in that hive, it's just dripping on them graves.
Now look, I had a goth phase in my life too. Shut up. But even I know better than to mess around with any sort of dripping fluids in a graveyard, edible or not. Jimmy goes on a beer run, leaving Betty and Arlene to... college. They had to replace that pool table in the student union afterwards. Sadly, we go back to Jimmy where a huge bee splatters all over his windshield, leaving a large enough smear that it causes him to lose control and slide into a power pole, giving him a flat tire. He hikes his way to the local convenience store, run by Wayne, to pick up the beer he came for.
Hey, Wayne, you think it's bad I need 3 beers to get in the mood?
Jimmy, your wife looks like this. If it takes you 3 beers to get in the mood to hit that harder than your car hit that pole, yeah, it's probably an issue. Wayne tells Jimmy that his deputy, Garcia, has been trying to get a hold of him about what happened at Cemetery Hill. After taking some fix-a-flat, Jimmy goes to the cemetery and we meet our actual main character, Garcia, a one-eyed, motorcycle-riding, faux-hawked badass. But don't take my word for it, just wait.
Ugh, what happened to his head?
That ain't the only thing that's missing.
And we see that not only is the kid's head missing, so's his dick.
Oh, Christ, you could have warned me.
We still gotta ID it.
Why? Aside from a couple of aesthetics things, when you've seen one, you've pretty much seen them all. Oh, wait, she's talking about the body. Jimmy recognizes the clothes the body's wearing as belonging to Arlene's son, and Garcia points out something pertinent.
You know, there's lipstick on his jeans and collar. So where's the girl?
Jimmy spots a blood trail leading from the car to the rose bushes and goes to investigate. And then he's attacked by something with insect-like limbs. Garcia blasts the hell out of the roses, which causes whatever's attacking Jimmy to let him go and fly off.
It's those bees. My grandmother told us about bees that fly at night. They bring a curse on the village.
What, your grandmother from Mexico?
No, my grandmother's from Texas.
Hey look, our theme for this story. After Garcia bandages Jimmy up as best she can, he heads home to tell Arlene what happened to her son, while Garcia waits for the state police, although she plans on coming back later to destroy the hive. Jimmy helpfully gives her a legal reason to do so, since the tree is technically on private property. But as Jimmy heads home, the bees start to follow him, and when he makes it to his house, Betty and Arlene are gone, and it's not long before Jimmy is taken down by the swarm. Not the most fun example of getting buzzed, am I right? Fuck all y'all, if Elvira made that joke, you'd be laughing your asses off. The next day, Garcia spots Betty and Arlene walking down the road, the two of them having handed out honey candy Arlene made at the town picnic. They tell Garcia that Jimmy didn't come home the night before. That night, Garcia waits for the state troopers to knock off for the day and sets the hive on fire, which screams and has a demonic face in the flames. And here's where things go right off the rails. The church doors burst open and Garcia is overrun by titular Bee Vixens. She's hauled back into the church, where Jimmy is still alive and tied to a crossbeam on top of a pile of dead bodies. It looks like every woman in town has been mutated into a bee vixen thanks to Arlene's honey candy, and Garcia is presented to the queen to be converted next.
The hive mind rejects you. You shall not receive glorious rebirth in the red light of our homeworld, for you are flawed, too dark.
Oh, great. So you're a giant alien monster who's also a racist. Fuck that. We got enough of that shit on Earth already.
Oh look, an even more explicit statement of our theme for those who haven't caught on yet. The queen grabs Garcia, who sticks her fingers in her mouth and whistles. The queen says there's nobody left in town who can help her. And then Garcia's motorcycle crashes through the window on its own! There is absolutely no indication it could do this before, and zero explanation why. It's gloriously stupid, and I love it! Garcia grabs her shotgun from the bike and blasts the holy hell out of several vixens, including Betty and Arlene with Jimmy's blessing. But she runs out of ammo before she can take down the queen, who makes her escape. A few other vixens try to take down Garcia, but she clubs them to death with the gun before freeing Jimmy and getting outside.
Garcia, I sure do appreciate you saving me and all.
Don't mention it, Jimmy.
But you're too late.
And then Jimmy vomits up a bunch of Martian bee larvae, which start chowing down on him. This was the most unsuccessful Honey Nut Cheerios campaign ever. Sales dropped by 300%.
It's a honey of an oat. It's Honey Nut Cheerios.
Garcia attacks the larvae, which sprout wings and fly off to join the queen. The next day, a lost family drives through town and makes the mistake of asking a couple of the vixens, who have a couple of the larvae in strollers, for directions. The wife is converted by the candy and they chow down on the rest of the family. Garcia is watching all this through a telescope from outside of town, and she heads back to Wayne's convenience store and asks if he's seen what's happened in town.
Now that you mention it, business has been a mite slow.
Figures. You and Sergey don't really interact with the women around here.
Not true. We two wild, swinging bachelor dudes. Just not found the right lady.
Yeah, 'cause none of them have dicks.
Wayne freaks out over this, worried about the townsfolk finding out, but Garcia points out that everyone in town is basically dead, so there's no one left to bash him or Sergey.
Or me.
After this show of solidarity, Garcia gets some supplies from Wayne and asks if the place is insured. We then go back to town, where Garcia gets the vixen's attention, lures the entire hive back to the gas station, and blows them up real good.
May the good Lord take a liking to you and blow you up real good.
This gets the attention of the queen, who shows up to make the usual threats, but Garcia doesn't care about the danger. Hell, she doesn't even care that she's on goddamn fire.
You know what this means? It means you're in big trouble, bug lady.
Your little swords, your flames, you cannot kill me.
Maybe not. But you can kill yourself, you dumb bitch.
Because if you know the basics about bees, a bee only stings in self-defense because the barbs on the stinger prevent it from sliding back out. So if the bee stings anything, it's going to rip itself apart trying to get away from what it stung. Garcia does know the basics on bees and impales herself on the queen's stinger, then pushes off, ripping the stinger out and killing the queen. Total badass! I mean, the closest I've ever gotten to this situation was when I got glassed in the stomach during a meet and greet with Joan Jett. Oh, I was fine, but that 62-year-old grandmother learned a valuable lesson about personal space that day. What? Anyway, while the Vixens are all dead, Garcia still has a pretty big goddamn hole in her stomach, and she's pretty sure she's a goner. Except...
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. Sergey's a doctor.
Da! I am head of cyborg research for KGB until Mudak Putin shut us down. So I come to America to find work and love.
And everything wraps up with our trio walking away from the burning corpses of the Bee Vixens, with Sergey promising Garcia that he'll fix her up extra nice, and more importantly, Wayne promises her free beer. Bee Vixens from Mars is a gory, sexy, and funny creature feature in the best way. The action starts immediately and doesn't let up until Garcia takes the queen down. The characters are fun, the situation's suitably ridiculous, and even the not all that subtle commentary about race and sexuality doesn't feel out of place. Garcia is one of the best comic badasses in a while, and in addition to the great writing, the artwork by Chris Peterson is both sexy and gory in all the right places. If you like alien invasion stories with a twist of grime, this one's for you. We'll be returning to the other stories in this series as we go on, because they only get crazier from here. And yes, like any hit, Garcia does return in a sequel, but that's for later. Next time, we go back to the movies, and also across the pond for one of the legendary Vincent Price's best movies from the later years of his career. We'll see you then, as I continue to show you what lurks on the other side of the silver screen.